Has the age of pensioner poverty been knocked sideways, with the real risk that it's now the young who need financial help? At this retirement village in the Midlands, this looks like a golden generation, healthier, living longer and better off.
So I would say I'm comfortably off, yeah. And I do know that I've got grandchildren 32 downwards to 17, and I do know that they are struggling.
I suppose we were better off than my father and mum's generation.
I suppose, like everybody, I'd like a little bit more, but we keep our head above water.
For Valerie, who's 72, the state pension goes up every year by at least as much as prices, earnings or a guaranteed minimum. But those in their 20s, like Natalie, have suffered most from the squeeze on wages, cuts in benefits and the lack of jobs.
I work here and somewhere else because I don't think just working here would sort of cover all the bills. So I sort of have to work between the two places to make sure that I can sort of make ends meet at the end of the month.
The austerity years have been tough, but campaigners insist it's been right to protect pensioners.
1.6 million older people are still living in poverty, about 1 in 8. So that shows there's no room for complacency. And most other pensioners too are living on pretty modest incomes.
Don't give me that bloody new money because I don't want it.
Yet 40 years ago, in the 1970s, the picture was much worse. 2 out of every 5 pensioners living in poverty. It's nothing like that now.
The pattern of poverty has now changed, and if the government wants to focus on reducing poverty, it may have to think about focusing more resources on younger people who are now at higher risks of poverty than those over the state pension age, at least after accounting for the housing costs people face.
There are still many pensioners on low incomes, but nowadays they're no more likely than anyone else to be in poverty. And that'll increase calls for trims to benefits, such as winter fuel payment, which Labour now says it'll axe for wealthier pensioners. And it raises the question as to whether generous guaranteed increases in the state pension should continue. So should the young be squeezed and not the old? The Prime Minister's promised not to cut the winter fuel payment for pensioners, but the message today is that it's those in their 20s, even in work, who are up against it.
Brilliant.
Simon Gompertz, BBC News.